Dr. Kohli, I'll begin with you, sir. I hope you can hear me. Dr. Kohli?
Yes, I can hear you, Vinny.
Well, France and India, oldest and two of the most, vibrant democracies throughout the world, have a lot in common. The commons are perhaps more than the uncommons, but the fact of the matter is, for Indian students, choosing a location where to pursue their higher education has always been a conversation and a dilemma. This new announcement that comes by the visit of the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, of having 30,000 students in the country in the next few years, how does this change the dynamics of not only this relationship but of Indian intelligence in France? We have seen what Indian intelligence has done to countries like the United States and Canada.
Well, thank you so much, Vineet, and good evening to all the NewsX viewers. Well, I think as far as the hand of friendship is concerned, it's a very welcome move. I mean, especially in the times when we saw Canada putting a curb on the number of students and, all sorts of things happening between, at the Canadian, with the Canadian government at the diplomatic level. Let's not dwell into that. But, pardon me for being a devil's advocate today, and I think I will seek pardon from Paridhi and from Marina as well. This whole concept of the Indians' brain drain, and Marina briefly touched upon that. The brain drain happening from India. I have a question here. If 30,000 students are allowed to go to France, who can afford this? That's my first question. The answer to that is somebody who's got a few crores in the bank. That's the answer to my first question. My second question is, why should you go? The answer to that question is because you feel that probably that country is giving you better education than India. My answer to that is no. I'm sorry. I love to play devil's advocate because that's what I believe. I'll speak what I believe in. Number three, why are you so excited about being on the foreign land? I would again seek pardon from Paridhi. I hope she'll pardon me later for playing this devil's advocate today. What is the fancy about going abroad? I mean, this 30,000 and in a situation, Vinny, where we all know, and I think Marina would endorse my view, three problems are plaguing France as of now. First problem, unemployment. France would be more protective about its own people. Unemployment is rampant in France at this moment. I'm sure President Macron is conscious of this fact because these students on a 5-year Schengen short stay visa, they would seek jobs here and there. And when they seek jobs, it's the French people who feel bad that these were our jobs. These are being taken away by people from India, and that's what, breeds hatred in so many countries. So I think unemployment is the first problem. Sluggish competitiveness is the second problem which France is facing right now. The GDP growth of France over the last few years, I'm sure people who study French economics, they are aware. It's not hunky-dory at this point of time. So in such a situation, imagine all 30,000 students, although that's not going to happen. Imagine all 30,000 students we need. They'll land up, let's say, next year, or let's say in 2024. Just I'm being very, very hypothetical as of now. So 30,000 students landing there, they finish their studies by 2025 or 2026, doing a 2-year or a 1-year course, about 72 odd universities in France. And they come out and all of them, they seek the 5-year visa. You can imagine the situation in France with regard to employment. There are very limited, population is less than 7 crores, very limited employment opportunities. I mean, it's not that jobs are overflowing in France. So my concept is that I think it's a very welcome hand, first of all. I do not diplomatically defy this offer. I really welcome it. And I congratulate President Macron for extending that hand. He knows that Canada has been playing rogue at this point of time. So therefore very welcome. But then the fact of the matter is, Indian education system today and some of the Indian institutes provide some of the world's best education today. Why should we look at somebody going to France and making a good career? Why can't you make this career in India? I mean, are all the CEOs educated in America or Europe? That's not the case. We have some of the most successful stories in startups and in the industry who have been born, brought up, and they have studied here. So my point is, whereas I welcome the move, I congratulate and I appreciate the diplomatic hand being extended by the French president during his visit. Very respected, and I respect the friendship of India and France as well. But then, I feel that I do not fancy this offer of 30,000 students because France will find itself very difficult. I also do not fancy the Indian families having this craze to push their children out of the country just because they can afford it. Vineet, over to you.
Okay, Dr. Kohli, how do you respond to that? In fact, going abroad is not something which, is a new phenomenon. Dr. Kohli, Mahatma Gandhi went to London to study law. Let's not forget that the University of Calcutta offered the same courses that the University of London offered at that particular time as well, and that is the 19th century.
Well, Vineet, I don't want to comment on Mahatma Gandhi, neither do I want to comment on Paridhi. It is everybody's, as somebody rightly said, it's their personal preference as to what they feel will probably raise their intellectual levels, will give them more knowledge, will give them more exposure, and so and so. Yeah, I think the discussion slightly wavered because I never meant not to travel abroad. I travel abroad every month. What I was trying to say, because I was doing a debate on India's transformation over the last 10 years, and one of the questions which came, a very pertinent question, which I think all my panelists will agree, that how do you fill up the gap between the haves and have-nots in this country? Now tell me, this doesn't apply to Paridhi, by the way. Paridhi has gone for a different purpose, she's got a different motive, and I'm sure she's going to come back and she's had some of the best education. But tell me one thing, students and children who've come back after studying from there. Now I'm talking of the people who've come back. Let me not talk of the people who want to settle down, because Marina said it's not about settling down, it's about getting the education and coming back. Now the students who have come back, tell me, when they stand amongst their peers, do they not flaunt it? And is that education not put on the top on your CV? That I am educated from Stanford, I am educated from Oxford, I am educated from Harvard, I am educated from so and so. Now what does that do? That puts the Indian students behind in the queue. Because these universities, with due respect to all of them, I don't mean to disrespect any university or a country for that matter, they are put on a different pedestal. That is precisely, Vineet, what I meant. I didn't mean, people should not travel abroad. Well, it's Atmanirbhar Bharat. So Atmanirbhar Bharat about education also. If we are Atmanirbhar, we should be Atmanirbhar on education also. I think to kill the gap between the haves and have-nots, as I said, Paridhi is lucky. She could afford this kind of money. And so many other students are lucky. But what about the millions and millions of students who cannot afford? This is what I meant, because they feel inferior. Or if you put it the other way, some of the students, they feel superior. Not Paridhi, of course. But some of the students, when they come back, they feel themselves as superior. Oh, I was educated there. You studied in a Delhi government school. You studied in a government school in a Delhi university, or so on and so forth. I think that is what is creating a social problem as well, Vineet, is what I meant. I am not against travel abroad. I am not against importing your brain.
We've run out of time. We've run out of time. I want to
share, and we're happy to share.
So I went to the US. I did my. It's not about flaunting. I did my post-graduation in California.
Exactly.
It's not something about flaunting.
It's coming back and giving and engaging and being pushy. Yeah, why not?
It's about a better life for yourself. I think that's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to. And in the end, I think you end up servicing your own country one way or the other. Well, we have run out of time. It's a very interesting debate, but unfortunately, we have time constraints. We'd like to thank everyone, especially Marina and Paridhi, for joining us all the way from France. We take a short break on that note. Be right back.